Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to explore exactly how the National Training Bureau acted as the master architect to build and standardize Pakistan's modern workforce. Think about the sheer monumental challenge of taking a nation with a massive, raw, mostly agrarian labor force and transforming it into a highly structured, industrialized engine. I mean, that doesn't just happen by accident, right? It takes a massive blueprint, meticulous planning, and some seriously rigorous standards. So, today, we're going to unpack exactly how that blueprint was drawn up.
Here is the agenda for our journey today. First, a blueprint for skilled labor. Second, creating a common skill language. Third, inside the Training Bureau. Fourth, exporting skills to the world. And finally, the NAVTTC integration.
You know, the concept of a government agency acting as an architect is actually pretty fascinating. When we think of government agencies, we usually think of red tape, endless paperwork, the whole shebang. But the National Training Bureau, or NTB, was fundamentally tasked with building something tangible, a professionalized workforce. They literally had to take all this fragmented, localized, informal training and forge it into a cohesive national asset.
Section 1. A blueprint for skilled labor.
Okay, picture this. It's March of 1980. Pakistan is industrializing fast, but they've hit a massive wall, a severe shortage of skilled labor. Industry needs simply weren't matching what workers actually knew how to do. So the government drops the National Training Ordinance. This was the legal hammer that officially established the NTB under the Ministry of Labor and Manpower. It basically created a framework to regulate facilities and fund nationwide training. And if you follow this timeline, you'll see a major shift in the 2010s toward a broader national framework, which ultimately led to a massive legal transition in 2022. We'll definitely dig into that later.
Moving right along to Section 2, creating a common skill language.
Before the NTB stepped in, vocational training was kind of the Wild West, so the crucial problem they had to solve was chaos. They created a uniform standard. What does that mean? It means a plumbing or IT certificate earned in Quetta holds the exact same weight to an employer as one earned in Lahore. Before this, if you told a boss you were a welder, they basically just had to take your word for it or, test you right there on the spot. By developing specific syllabi and national occupational skill standards for over 100 different trades, the NTB effectively created a currency of trust, a common language where a simple piece of paper guaranteed a specific baseline of competence no matter which province you trained in.
And here is how that actual blueprint works. It's a really clear, structured certification ladder. You start out with a one-year program to become a semi-skilled worker at the G3 level. You put in another year, boom, you're a recognized skilled worker at G2. Add another year of intense training and testing on top of that, and you reach the absolute pinnacle, GI, a highly skilled master craftsman. This ladder didn't just give workers a solid career trajectory. It gave employers exact, reliable specifications for hiring.
But all of this really brings up a fascinating question. How exactly does the government practically test and prove these diverse skills across over 100 different trades? We're talking about everything from traditional electrical work to modern UX and UI design. Seriously, how do you standardize the measurement of human capability on that massive of a scale?
Let's dive into Section 3, inside the Training Bureau, to see how they pull this off.
The NTB manages its civil servants using a highly organized system called the Basic Pay Scale, or BPS. Up at the top, you've got your directors and the Director General in grades 17 through 20. They're the ones setting the high-level national policy. But the actual boots on the ground? Those are your BPS 16 vocational training instructors. These are the real technical experts who physically conduct the classes, run the assessments, and supervise the trade testing boards. And of course, they are backed by a huge infrastructure of assistant instructors and support staff, all working together to protect the integrity of these national exams.
All of these specialized units operate out of a sprawling headquarters in Islamabad Sector H9. Think of Sector H9 as the central nervous system for technical education in Pakistan. They maintain incredibly strict standards for infrastructure, faculty, and syllabi for all affiliated provincial institutes. So if a private or public institute wants to offer an NTB-certified course, they can't just open their doors and start teaching. No way. They have to pass strict affiliation criteria. We're talking suitable buildings, government-recognized staff, a minimum of 60% student attendance, and mandatory use of the NTB-approved curriculum.
Now, I absolutely love this next concept, RPL, or recognition of prior learning. This is a total game changer. Think about how many incredibly skilled artisans or mechanics out there learn their trade from their parents or through local informal apprenticeships. Because they don't have formal schooling, their earning potential has historically been capped.
The NTTB's RPL system steps in, tests their actual practical knowledge, and if they pass, hands them a nationally recognized certificate. It allows an informally trained auto mechanic or builder to finally get the official paperwork they need to enter the formal economy. It is a massive engine for upward economic mobility.
Section 4. Exporting skills to the world. Because once you can officially prove what a worker can do, the entire world wants to hire them. Millions. This staggering number represents the true legacy of the NTB. Millions of certified workers acting as a driving force for Pakistan's foreign remittances as they migrate to the Gulf, Europe, and beyond. By handing a worker a piece of paper that undeniably proves they are a GII skilled electrician or a GII master plumber, the NTB essentially handed them an international ticket. These millions of workers send remittances back home, fundamentally propping up the national economy. So the NTB didn't just build a workforce for Pakistan, they literally built one for the global market.
An NTB certification effectively becomes an international passport for highly skilled labor. The Bureau's International Cooperation section actively watches foreign labor market needs. For example, through programs like Takamol, they verify tradesmen specifically for Saudi employment, ensuring Pakistani workers meet strict Saudi standards before they even board a plane. They also team up with the UNHCR to provide vital vocational training to Afghan refugees, massively boosting their employability. The NTB is quite literally the bridge connecting local talent to international demand.
Finally, Section 5, the NAVTTC integration. Institutions have to evolve, right? And the NTB story is no exception.
Recently, there has been a massive national shift away from traditional time-based courses, moving over to what's called competency-based training, or CBT. Historically, you know the drill. You sit in a classroom for a year, you pass a written test, you get a certificate. But modern industries, they don't just care about time served, they care about output. Under CBT, workers have to prove they can actually do the job on day one. The assessment is entirely focused on demonstrating actual physical workplace performance. It is a fundamental evolution in how we evaluate human capital.
And this shift in training style paired with a massive policy evolution. Remember that foundational 1980 ordinance that birthed the NTB? Well, in January 2022, it was officially repealed. The NTB's assets, its sprawling headquarters, its staff, and its whole historic legacy were seamlessly integrated into the National Vocational and Technical Training Commission, or NAVTTC. This wasn't the end of the NTB. It was an upgrade. It centralized federal oversight to create a single, unified, highly powerful federal body for technical education.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to consider this. Labor markets are constantly shifting and merging. So how will these systems continue to evolve to capture and value human capital in the future? We've seen how Pakistan moved from fragmented agrarian labor to a standardized, internationally exported workforce thanks to the NTB's blueprint. But today, with the rise of the gig economy, AI, and entirely new digital trades springing up overnight, the challenge of standardizing skills is more complex than ever. The frameworks of tomorrow are going to need to be faster, smarter, and infinitely adaptable. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.